The Monday, October 13, 2025 regular meeting of the Paris City Council is hereby called to order at 5:30 p.m. For the purpose of this meeting, there's a quorum of the council present. Agenda item number 2, invocation. The invocation will be delivered by Mr. Gene Anderson, and the United States Pledge of Allegiance and the Texas Pledge will be led by the City Council. Please rise.
May we pray. Heavenly Father, we come before you this morning, Father, and we thank you for your greatness and your goodness and your blessings upon this nation and upon this state and upon this city. And we pray your continued guidance, and we ask that you'd bless our council tonight as they go through and do all the business of the city, and that you give them wisdom and understanding to do it in a way that's pleasing in your sight. We just pray that we would all give and make the effort, Father, to make our community better. If we do pray and ask these things in Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Citizens Forum. Persons desiring to address the council must limit their presentation to no more than 2 minutes. Unless an item is posted on the agenda, the Texas Open Meetings Act prohibits the council from responding to any comments other than to refer the matter to a future agenda, to an existing policy, or to a staff person with specific factual information. Claims against the city council, the council members, or employees, as well as an individual personal appeals, are not appropriate for Citizens Forum. If necessary, the City Council may convene into executive session under Chapter 551 of the Texas Government Code regarding any item on this agenda. The public forum is now open. If there's anyone who wishes to address the council, please come forward and state your name and address for the record. Seeing none, we'll go ahead and close the public forum. And we'll move on to the consent agenda. Items on the consent agenda are approved by a single action of council, with such approval applicable to all items appearing on the consent agenda. A council member may request any item to be removed from the consent agenda and considered as a separate item. And before we take a vote on that consent agenda, I know we do have some information from staff on some events that are going around in town here in the near future.
If seeing areas of town that could use an uplift really gets your goat, check out the first ever City of Paris Love Your Block event on Saturday, November 8th. With the help of a herd of goats, no kidding, goats, volunteers are needed to pick up trash, mow, and weed eat a 2-block area near Northeast 6th and Garrett Streets. Sign up now to help and watch the goats as they eat the overgrowth. Visit paristexas.gov/loveyourblock for more information.
All right, that's fantastic. So I know that we will need to move the September 2025 financial report to the next meeting, but with that, is there any discussion on any of the consent agenda? And if not, I'll hear a motion to approve all items on the consent agenda with the exception of the September financial report.
So moved.
Second.
We've got a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Motion carries 6-0. Moving on to the regular agenda. Agenda item number 11, receive a presentation from John McFadden about the Public Information Officer Department. Staff, do you have a presentation?
I do. Give me just a second to get set up here, please. So I want to take just a few minutes, and I will try to keep it very brief, just to give you an update on some of the longer-term projects I'm currently working on, in addition to more typical day-to-day activities. So I'll jump right in here. One of the biggest things we've got coming down the line right now is a ruling from the Department of Justice that says that cities under 50,000 population need to bring their websites and web content into what WCAG or WCAG, that depends on who you talk to and how they say that, but the level 2.1 AA standards for web content accessibility guidelines. What that's for is for people with disabilities that may use things like screen readers or braille readers, those kinds of devices, to aid their browsing of websites. So even with someone that is totally blind, the screen reader or a braille reader can assist them with being able to still navigate and access all the same information that a sighted person could. And in a lot of cases, people with just even a small amount of disability will utilize screen readers. Even people with, say, ADHD or other situations, they may utilize a screen reader in addition to reading the screen to help them with comprehension. So I understand where it's coming from, but it is going to be a bit of a lengthy task. With about 200 pages on our website currently. And that doesn't include things that link out to other places. But the deadline for us, thankfully, is April 26, 2027. For cities over 50,000, it's actually April of 2026. So we get an extra year. So what must comply? I just told you the why. All the pages of our website, all of our documents, so all of our PDFs have to be accessible as long as they have currently relevant information in them. So those documents that we have on the website that are no longer relevant, we don't have to bring those back up to compliance. All of our social media content, we have to have that compliant. Third-party websites, so any website that we contract with. So like, I know engineering has a website that deals with bidding. They have to be compliant in order for us to be compliant. And then one of our challenges is going to be our Laserfish product, just because of the way it works. A lot of times those documents have been scanned in, so screen readers can't read scans. We will have an opportunity to somewhat redact some things and move them to another part of the website if we need to, and I'll talk more about that in a second. So just to give you an idea of what the compliance requirements are going to look like, no, I'm not going to go add yellow boxes to the website. That's just to show you what alt text looks like. So any graphic or any photo has to have a written description so that when a screen reader is accessing that information, if it sees that there's a photo on the web page, the person that's listening to the screen reader needs a description of what that photo is. Even logos. So Coxfield Airport, I have to type in there alt text, Coxfield Airport logo. So with 1,400 images currently in our database on the website, I do know there's a lot of those that we no longer need, so it'll be a good time for us to purge a lot of things too. But those that remain, most of them are going to have to be updated because prior to now we didn't know that was going to be a have-to situation. Things like the graphic there with the fuel prices, that kind of information, so infographics and flyers, all of those things, all of that content has to be readable. So this is going to restrict us from using things like flyers as often as we do now, unless we go back and enter all of that same information in text format. Alt text has a limit to the number of characters, so that means we're going to have to, in order for a flyer that has a lot of information on it to carry over, we'll have to just build a web page of it. So that'll restrict us there some. Another thing that has to be done is we have to check the formatting of all the pages so that when people are using a screen reader, they don't have to listen to every word on the screen. They can jump using a keyboard, a mouse, or other devices that they have specialized. They can jump from section to section. So it's like an index or like an outline. Everything has to be laid out in that way. So we'll have, like the Northeast Texas Auto Theft Task Force, that's the headline for that page. And you can have multiple headlines, multiple subheads, multiple, actually there's 2 subhead categories, so they can jump around and get to the information they're searching for and not have to listen to an entire page, which obviously could be very lengthy. And another piece is consistent location of information from page to page. So all of our contact us information will be in that right-hand column, and any pages that I find where somebody at some point moved it to another location, I've got to go back and reformat that page to make it work. Like I said, all of our documents that are available online, not all of our documents, but all the documents that are available online have to be compliant, must be readable, must have alt text if there's images involved. So you may have been using Word recently and dropped a photo into a document and seen that saw that it asked you for alt text. That's why. And there's even buttons now on most Microsoft content or products for checking accessibility before you send a document out. So just anticipate more and more compliance, that level of understanding and level of compliance rising over time. It must also follow some level of formatting guides. Like I said earlier, we can move some of our documents that no longer contain truly relevant information, currently relevant information. We can move those to another location, but we can't leave them where they are and say this one existed before April 26th of 27. We've got to move it to a separate area to be stored there. So it's going to be an interesting project, and hopefully I can do it in under the 18 months we have now. We are also in a web redesign process right now. That is a cost that's included with our web hosting for a redesign about every 4 years. And it's good that we kind of delayed this so that we can factor it in with the WCAG compliance, because there are other things, coding issues that you don't see. And then also all of our colors have to be certain amounts of contrast for those that are visually impaired. This is going to address the container only. All the content is still on us. So basically we're going to put new lipstick on it. I do have a small team, so if there's 3 of us that are working on initial decisions on that process, and then we'll bring in the city manager and any others she would like as we start getting into higher level decisions. We are going to kind of move towards a theme of showing landmarks in our photos and in our homepage, but also factoring in showing our employees at work. Just so that we can kind of tell the story of what the city does, and not just pretty pictures. So, PEG channel, sorry for the amount of contrast there, as a matter of fact, but that's kind of bright. Most of you are aware of the PEG channel. I came to you asking for your ultimate authorization to move forward with that. It has been a slow process because Optimum is offering early retirement to folks, and I've had 2 people already that have retired while I was in discussions with them, and spoke to my current assignment, and my first question to him was, are you retiring anytime soon? And he said, I've got several years left before I think that will happen. So fingers crossed, the ball's rolling again. Just to refresh you on that, it'll contain local content. We'll live stream the council meetings on that channel. And we can bring in other government videos. We can do promotional videos as long as we're fair about it. So if we wanted to do where to go eat in Paris, those kinds of things, we would need to be fair to the point of asking the restaurant, do you want to participate first? If they do, put their name in a hat, draw it out, and then we would do a promotional video about their offerings. So it's pretty broad what we can do with the channel. We will have to program it 24/7, and that's where a bulletin board rotating automation system factors in. So that is all well covered. Everything's good to go. One of the biggest points, I'll just refresh your memory, and I know we've got one new one. Funding for this is not general fund. This is money that comes from Optimum that they collect, that is outlined for them in their state-issued franchise agreement. So the state tells them how much they have to collect, and then if we opt to take the funding for PEG channels, they have to collect that as well. And so that's been happening since, I believe, 2006. So we have a good amount of money there to be able to buy all the equipment we'll need. And with that said, the only thing we can spend that money on is capital expenses. So those items that have a lifespan of at least a year, and very little other. So it'll buy the equipment, but we can't pay for staff with that money. We can't pay for batteries that are going to wear out after 4 hours of use or whatever, that kind of thing. So our expendables should be pretty minimal, just batteries, and we can always buy rechargeables there for that kind of thing.
And John, we can't charge for advertising?
You cannot charge for advertising. It functions basically like a PBS channel. I'd have to do a little more research to feel totally comfortable about it. But some things we may be able to do some underwriters, but when you get into underwriting, and that's, if you think about PBS and the commercials you may see on there, never talk about a big sale this week at whatever store. Right. They never talk about specific price of an item, nothing. It's just, this program is underwritten by whatever company, they do this, this, and this, and that's as much of an advertisement as you can get. So I think there may be some flexibility with that, but otherwise, no. And then one I'm really pretty excited about, city manager came in and she told me about Civi Social and Sam Tolles, and initially I was a little skeptical about his product, but she pointed me towards a couple of podcasts where Sam was interviewed. Sam has been an executive for Bleacher Report that has, last I checked, 200 million followers. Doesn't mean obviously that they're looking at it every day, but he's a big dog in the social media realm. And he has served on a city council in his city. I don't know if he's still on there currently, but he has in the past. So he will come in and help us to identify members of different departments to be able to build a team approach for social media content. He will train all of the folks on effective content production. And what this will do is help us to share more regularly from all the departments, where right now it's kind of limited to what can I get out there and cover. So this will open up a lot of opportunity for us to have more regular content, as well as doing a better job of telling the story of what we do day to day and not just at special events. And then the content, all of the team members will submit their content and it'll be approved before it actually posts, just so we can clean up any typos and things of that sort and make sure that it follows whatever Sam recommends as far as that process goes. So with all that said, hopefully I didn't take too much of your time. Do you have any questions?
I had one question.
Okay.
Regarding the mobile website for the city. I've had a lot of citizens, voice their complaint on it, but then also I've seen it myself. It's gotten better. I'll say it's gotten much better. But, if we're referencing something with a citizen, or if we're referencing just some advice that we can give to someone, it's kind of hard to read. It's clunky on a mobile app. So I just wanted to see if it's possible, I think with the next update.
That's part of the redesign, is they should address all of those. I'm not remembering the exact term of what that is, but there's a name for that, responsive. The responsiveness of the website to reposition everything, they should address. In fact, they say specifically in our meetings we've had so far that they will readdress that to make sure that it's loading properly, device to device. Looking at other city websites that Civic Plus hosts, it's kind of hit or miss, but I don't know how recent the redesign has been for those particular cities that are still showing problems.
I got you. I think that's why a lot of people don't reach out to certain departments that they need to, and then just go to someone that they can kind of familiarize themselves to, like a council member, because it's hard for them to be able to navigate, and that may be the only device they have.
Right.
And so,
well, and honestly, the 311 project that Celso's working on will be a great asset if everything, as it comes together. I'm not going to say if, because I'm trusting it will. Honestly, it's going to be a great product. It'll be very helpful to the citizens to be able to report their needs and access information. And it too will contact back to the website to be able to pull data from there if it needs to.
fantastic.
So
Thank you. Is there any other questions, comments?
Okay,
All right. Thank you, Mr. McFadden.
thank you.
All right, we will move on to agenda item number 12, discuss and act on a resolution approving the form and authorizing the distribution of a preliminary limited offering memorandum for the City of Paris, Texas Special Assessment Revenue Bond Series 2025 Forest Brook Public Improvement District Number 1, Improvement Area Number 1. Staff, do you have a presentation?
Just a brief one. This is, what seems like step 25 in this list of things that we have to do to issue these bonds for the improvement area number 1 for PID, the Forest Brook Public Improvement District. What it is you're going to be approving a resolution that authorizes the issuer of the bonds to show potential purchasers all the information about the bonds. And if you took the time to look at that whole document that I had to send you in about 8 parts, then, well, I don't think you did because you're here. It would have taken you that long. That's all in that memorandum, and that's all the disclosures, everything that a purchaser would need to consider before buying those bonds. So the suggested motion language from Chris Settle, our bond counsel, is I move to adopt a resolution authorizing the distribution of a preliminary limited offering memorandum for the City of Paris, Texas Special Assessment Revenue Bonds Series 2025 Forest Brook Public Improvement District Number 1, Improvement Area Number 1 project. And so I said all that for you, and you don't have to say it now.
Is there any discussion or any questions that we have? If not, we'll hear a motion.
So moved.
Got a motion? We hear a second?
Second.
We got a second from Mayor Pro Tem. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, say no. Motion carries 6-0.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we will now move on to agenda item number 13, discuss and act on a resolution approving a residential tax abatement and economic development agreement with Christopher Sebastian Martinez, DBA ASA Electric and Construction LLC as part of the 5 and 5 Housing Infill Redevelopment Program for properties located at 3rd Street Northwest, 542 7th Street Southwest, 1209 17th Street Northwest, 7th Street Northwest, and 725 7th Street Northwest. Mr. Alba-Mensah, you have a presentation?
Yes, thank you, Mayor Pro Tem and Council. So this is a 5 and 5 application, and the applicant is requesting that this be allowed for a resolution that is before you today. If you look at the memo, it's showing 5 different lots in total. And the proposal is to build single-family dwellings on that separate lots. The current status of the issue is that the application has been determined that the properties are within the program area, and also the proposed improvement meets the criteria program. The proposed agreement here too provides the incentives under the Chapter 380 and also meets the Texas Tax Code Chapter 312. There are transfers of City of Paris trustee properties, and also the notices and the guidelines that are required are all met for that 30-day prior meeting requirement for this law. So for the budget estimate, the project is estimated to be for the 5 lots building single-family homes will be about $1 million. And so recommendation is to adopt a resolution approving the 5 and 5 agreement with Christopher Sebastian Martinez doing business as ASA Electric and Construction LLC. Thank you.
Council, is there any discussion, any questions that we may have regarding this 5 and 5 program?
Did y'all, just looking at the loan, the intention of the lending company, did y'all call them? Did y'all,
Yeah, we go through all of that
And-
to make
and-
sure, yeah.
okay.
Anything else? Any other questions? If not, I'll hear a motion.
I motion we approve?
We've got a motion. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, say no. Motion carries 6-0. Item number 14, discuss and authorize the city manager to execute a ground lease agreement with Robert Rusak for construction of a private hangar, hangar number 10 at Cox Field Airport. Staff, do you have a presentation?
Yes, Robert Rusak approached the airport manager, I believe it was Paul at the time, about 6 months ago. He expressed an interest in a ground lease agreement with us for the purpose of building a private hangar. He has submitted the plans. He's obtained approval from FAA for an 80 by 80 hangar. His annual lease agreement for the land will be $1,600 a year, and that's for 40 years. Staff recommends approval.
All right. Council, any discussion?
I guess the only question I have is
Okay.
that, have we kind of made that public a little bit? You know, I know we started building those, or allowing somebody to build hangars, and, you know, other entities didn't know, and they kind of got a little upset about that. So I'm just wondering if we've shared that information with everyone, and because we want to be transparent and on the same page with
I
everybody.
totally understand. It's
Yeah.
my knowledge, because I called when he first came to my office, when Bob Rusak came to my office. I was like, I need to call Paul, because he was the one here. And he did, he said he was the first one to express interest. Others did after that. But he felt like that's who we should go with, because he was the first one. And everybody at the airport knew. We didn't know up here about it. Anybody that had an airplane.
Yeah, I was speaking
Yes, and
more of
there-
the other entities in Lamar County, they kind of expressed concern the last time we, had someone build a hangar out there. I think they were marketing one way and we were marketing another way, so we just want to be on the same page.
And
Not that we have to.
Yes.
the main issue, I think, there was that there were a bunch of them at one time with one developer. And this is, we've been doing this for years, that one hangar ground lease at a time, that's
Not a big
nothing
deal.
new.
Okay.
I'll ask this question just for general public knowledge. I mean, when an individual comes to council requesting this is their private funds to be able to do this. They signed the ground lease with the city, and that is the only exchange that we get in terms of the ground lease. That is the only monetary exchange we get, correct?
Right, that is a private investment. From time to time, it may, for example, the Load Trail that we did all those at the same time, there was an associated development agreement because they needed to extend a taxiway. So we may do that, and that may be, sometimes be a cooperative funding kind of thing, if it adds value to the entire airport and not just the people building the hangars. But yes, the people build their hangars with their own funds or financing. That's no city money that goes to that. They pay for the ground.
And I'll say this, I appreciate that, because I know part of our strategic plan, we're looking at trying to build that public-private partnership. And just by you pointing that out, that shows that initiative being accomplished if there is something that comes about for the betterment of the airport.
And the nature of these ground leases, too, are that at the end of the lease, the hangar belongs to the city. That's just how that works. That's part of the deal.
Any other questions?
Are there any specifications for the hangar requirements of what size or?
Well, and not specifically, but everything has to go through typically an airport engineer, and it has to be approved by the FAA. So they have hangars, if I'm not correct, of different sizes.
Yes, they do.
That are private hangars. It just has to meet all the requirements that the FAA has, and then the engineering requirements.
Any other questions? If not, we'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
We've got a motion. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Those opposed say no. Motion carries 6-0. Agenda item number 15, discuss and act on the appointment of one board member to fill a vacant position of Sandy Kier on the Library Advisory Board. Staff, do you have a presentation?
Yes, in June, you all made appointments to all the boards and commissions. Since that time, Sandy Kerr has had to resign for medical reasons. So we pulled the applications of the people that had applied to the Library Advisory Board and did not get selected. And we're bringing those back to you tonight to hopefully fill the vacant position. They are Annette Lewis, Jessica Mignota, and Sharon Peters. So we've passed out the ballots. After you get them marked, I'll give them to John McFadden, and he'll tell us who has the most points.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you all. Just a second. Yes. Annette Lewis. Hey, Annette Lewis. it's-
So Ms. Lewis got the majority vote there, so I would like to go ahead and open the floor for a motion.
I move to appoint Annette Lewis.
Okay, we got a motion
Second.
and a second. All those in favor say aye.
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 Those opposed say no. Motion carries 6-0.
Thank you.
Congratulations to Ms. Lewis. Agenda item number 15, okay, actually, agenda item number 16, sorry. Discuss and act on a resolution nominating a candidate for the Lamar County Appraisal District Board. Staff, do you have a presentation?
Yes, every 2 years, the Lamar County Appraisal District, they contact us and ask us to submit a name or a nominee to serve on the board. Once the LCAD receives nominations from all the taxing entities, the LCAD will prepare a ballot and return it to the city. At that time, we will cast the vote and submit it to LCAD, but we've got to get a nomination to them, I believe, before the 16th, here in just a few days.
Fantastic. Council, is there any discussion? Anyone have any nominations that they'd like to throw out?
Gene Anderson.
Okay, we got a nomination for Mr. Anderson. Any other nominations? And if not, we'll go ahead and take a motion for Mr.
So move,
Yeah.
sorry, I said so move.
We-
I'd like to make the motion to nominate Gene Anderson.
Okay, so we've got a motion. We hear a second from Ms. Normand. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Motion carries 6-0.
Thank you. We'll submit it tomorrow.
Congratulations, sir. We know you'll represent us in good faith. Agenda item number 17, discuss and act on changes for meeting dates in November and December. Staff, do you have a presentation?
Yes, normally in December, November and December, the council meetings for the second meeting of the month are canceled because of the holidays and accompanying conflicts. And not to mention, you've all had a lot of meetings the last several months. So we're recommending canceling the November 24th and December 22nd meetings, unless you want to have an extra meeting.
In case if there is something that comes up that's an
Yes.
emergency or something that does come up, I would assume that we're all okay to meet if something happens.
Yes,
But
sir.
otherwise, I'm okay with that. I mean, council, what say you?
Fine.
Everyone's okay with that? So that would be eliminating those two meetings, the last one in November, last one in December. Okay.
We just need to get a motion.
Well, then we will go ahead and open up the floor for a motion.
I'm motion that we canceled the 2 meetings that Ms. Ellis described.
All right, we got a motion?
Second.
Got a second? All those in favor say aye.
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 Those opposed say no. Motion carries 6-0. All right, and we will now move on to agenda item number 18. Discuss and act on a resolution denying Encore's proposed rate increase. Mr. Anderson.
Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, council members, back in June of this year, Encore applied for a rate increase that totaled $834 million system-wide. In July, the city council voted to suspend that rate increase so we'd have time to study it. And the consultants and the attorneys have looked it over, and in their determination, they thought that rate increase was unreasonable and that we therefore ought to deny it. If in the resolution you have before you today is to deny that rate increase. What will happen next is that Encore will appeal that denial to the Public Utilities Commission. And if they do that, what will happen is the Public Utilities Commission will roll that appeal into the rate increase that they've already filed with them. And it'll be settled, when everything else is settled. We don't know exactly when that will be, but the rate increase will not go into effect until the Public Utility Commission acts on it.
Council, is there any discussion, any questions that we have for Mr. Anderson? I have one question. So I know that the time frame is kind of confusing at this point, but basically we'll stay at the same rate up until the time that a decision is made on the new rate, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So there's no penalization, nothing?
No penalty or anything, no changes in the rates. They're not allowed to change the rates once we've denied them until the PUC makes a decision.
Perfect. Okay. Any other questions? All right. If not, then I'll hear a motion.
I make the motion that we deny the Encore rate increase proposal.
We got a motion? Here, a second?
Second.
Second from Ms. Normand. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Motion carries 6-0. Thank you. We will now move on to agenda item number 19. Consider and approve future events for the city council and/or city staff pursuant to resolution number 2004-081. Does anyone have anything?
I'd like to remind everyone about the Festival of Pumpkins. It's not this Saturday, but the next, October the 25th, from 9 to 5 in downtown Paris. I couldn't announce it with the goats. The goats was just too outstanding.
I had one item. Mr. Kimmy Snowden really wanted me to make sure and remind council the last Coffee with Cops is going to be on Tuesday, October 21st at 9 a.m. At Burger King. And so he was just saying, if any council member is out and about, and if you're able to come, please come out and meet some great citizens and with our first responders. It's always a good time. So, and then the only other thing I had was, I know a few meetings ago, I had asked to see if we could talk about the no littering signage and being able to enforce that on our streets, along with partnering with TxDOT to see if they had any appetite on that too. I just wanted to see if we could get that on the next meeting or the following meeting, just to make sure that we tackle this thing, because seeing a lot of trash flying around everywhere on the streets.
Within the next 2 meetings?
Yes.
Okay.
And,
I just have one thing, maybe, I don't think this is a future agenda item, but maybe, I don't know, you or someone, the city manager, someone could meet with our community liaison about having more of those events in West Paris. I thought the one we had in West Paris, the diversity was great, so we need to, do something about having more in West Paris.
fantastic. Yes, sir. Anyone else? Okay. If not, then we'll move on to agenda item number 20, adjournment. I'll hear a motion.
I make the motion that we adjourn.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed say no. Motion carries 6-0.
I didn't have Mickey here to remind me.
I know.
Yeah.